David Barry Green Borders online magazine. Our guest today is Lieutenant Joshua Self of the Salvation Army. And as we're approaching Easter, we thought we would interview somebody from the clergy, so to speak. Hello, Joshua.
Hello.
You work for the Salvation Army in Leytonstone.
I do indeed, yes. Me and my wife, we run the Salvation Army Church and the community centre here in Leytonstone.
And how long have you been in Leytonstone, Joshua?
I've been here for 4 years now, 4 years in August. It's my first appointment as well as a minister, so a very special place, I guess.
And what work do you do for the community, Joshua, in Leytonstone?
Well, the Salvation Army Primary is a church, so we run all the same kind of things that a church would: services, Bible studies, that kind of stuff, as well as visitation, trying to pastorally support those who come through the door. Community work-wise, we have a sort of small cafe once a week, which we call Open House, the idea being anyone can come and join us for some light snacks, but also if anyone needs any support with filling in forms, benefits, advice on housing, food parcels, things like that, we try to do our best to provide that. We also run a parent and toddlers twice a week, as well as a home league, which is a club which generally tends to attract older folk, but it's not exclusive to that, for people who are at home during the day, and it seeks to give them skills on how to run a house, and its kind of purpose is to educate and to support in that way, as well as various things which might come up. So for example, Christmas time, we try to ensure that we can provide presents to people in need who might not have presents. If there's any emergencies, we help with the emergency services to provide relief and support. So generally we try to assess the needs of the local area and meet them where possible.
Do you think today the man on the street needs pastoral services, Joshua?
It's quite interesting, because obviously we're kind of trained to provide pastoral support to our church members, but very often we find that most of our pastoral support goes towards non-church members, people that we know from just meeting on the street who actually need someone to speak to. And we're increasingly finding that although we can provide someone with food or help them find a bed for the night, very often a lot of people come to us not wanting anything other than an ear to listen and to speak to. So it's actually very interesting and encouraging to find that they're not after our food, but a lot of people are just actually after someone to befriend, someone to speak to, and especially when you live in very isolated communities where a lot of people maybe are at home alone quite a lot of the time. I think they appreciate, probably more than any of the other stuff, being able to come and speak to someone and have some advice, have someone listen to them.
Your role in the Salvation Army is very vocational, isn't it, Joshua?
Yeah. I mean, we're certainly not in it for the money. It's. I personally felt called since I was 13. Obviously, the faith is a big part of it. So I personally feel called to do it from God, from kind of a very young age, and that's been there all my life. So I definitely say it's a vocation.
Have you noticed, you've been in Leytonstone for 5 years, have you noticed a change in the community since you've been here?
Actually, interestingly, especially with the Olympics just down the corner, you see a lot of changes in physical appearance, being spruced up, and even within the community, both positive and negative changes. Whereas maybe 3-4 years ago, a lot of the food parcels we were giving out were towards mainly single homeless men or single people in trouble. sadly, over the last few years, we've seen a big increase in families coming for food parcels, which obviously reflects the kind of climate that we're in. And so that's been one big change which has kind of made us think, rethink the way we do things. And think,
because of obviously the financial crisis most people are finding themselves in, do you think they're turning to spiritual matters, to the church?
Yeah, I think certainly there's a spiritual interest. Whether a lot of them come to the church or to find it in other avenues, I think is a very mixed kind of thing. But we have actually found, our church has grown in the last 5 years or so, and the majority of those people who are coming through the door have just said they felt a spiritual urge to come through the door on a Sunday. You know, they're not people that myself or anyone else in the church has met previously. You know, they've just kind of felt that they wanted to come in and be part of a church, be part of a worshipping community, a spiritual community. So I definitely think there's a lot of spiritual interest in the world at large.
Is everybody welcome to your Sunday service, Joshua?
Yeah, absolutely. Whether they believe in God or not, Christian or not, to any of our activities, not just the Sunday services, but everything, we welcome anybody.
You're a very open house then?
Yeah, absolutely. Which informs the name of our community cafe, Open House, on a Tuesday. So that's definitely part of our vision, is that we should try to be accessible to anybody, whatever walks of life they come from.
And with Easter fast approaching, have you got an Easter message for Green Borders online viewers and readers, Joshua?
Right, well, where do I start? Now, I think Easter is definitely the time when it encapsulates the spring spirit, where the earth, the environment, has seemed kind of dead over the last few months with winter, and now you can just begin seeing the spring bulbs kind of cracking through and coming into blossom, and in a spiritual sense, that's what we celebrate as well. So we celebrate obviously Christ's death and his resurrection, and we believe that that's possible as well within people's lives who maybe feel despondent or despair, and we think resurrection is something which we can each experience within our own souls. So it's a
very inspirational time then.
Absolutely, the most important time in a Christian calendar is when
more than Christmas.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's the crux, the central point of the Christians' doctrine, their beliefs, their whole lifestyle is the message of the death and resurrection, and everything that stands behind that. And
how does the Salvation Army perhaps use that message today?
Yeah, well, the Salvation Army kind of believes in one of our kind of mottos is faith in action. So, we believe that Jesus came down to the world because we don't worship a God that is above everyone else and kind of unconcerned for his people. So we believe that in the same way that Christ became incarnate in our world, he moved into the neighbourhood of our planet. So we believe that we have to engage with and be a positive part of the neighbourhoods that we belong to. So as the local Salvation Army in Leytonstone, we try to model that. We kind of try to move into this area and bring life, if you will, in the same way that Christ did, and try to bring healing, bring positive hope and joy and love into wherever we live. So I think the Salvation Army's message, as well as being vocal and proclaiming our beliefs, the Salvation Army very much believes in preaching through our actions, by working for a better society, a better world, if you like. So although we might speak what we believe at Easter time, we also believe in working and through our actions proclaiming what we believe as well.
So with regard to the facilities in Salvation Army Leytonstone, I understand there's a refurbishment programme going on.
Yeah. So the big concrete outer sort of thing, and the bars, which almost look like prison bars at the front, they're all going, and we're hoping to have a kind of a bit of a green space at the front with some planting. Maybe we're looking at sort of some of the plants that are in the Bible, like olive trees and the grapevines, and what the symbolic message is behind there, as well as growing our own food for our community cafe and so forth. But at the moment the pneumatic drills are going and the work's all being done, so hopefully we should have a kind of a rejuvenated hall. It's been there for just over 100 years now, so hopefully it'll bring...
Salvation Army been in Leytonstone for that long, really?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. 1900 is when the building went up, but
Wow.
we were operating longer than that, since before that. So historically, since nearly the beginning of the army, Salvation Army, we've been there.
And the 5 years you've been here, have they gone very quickly?
Yeah, it seems. I mean, it's only been 4 so far.
4, okay.
But it
Your 5th
does
year.
seem. Yeah. So I'm going into the 5th year.
Okay.
And it certainly seems like it's gone very quick, because lots has gone on, and it's amazing how fast you feel part of a community. You don't have a choice. The Salvation Army sent me here. They didn't ask me where I wanted to go, but very quickly I felt part of the community, and it's a community with lots of good things going on, lots of positive things, but with a lot of challenges. And already I've felt, every instance of violence or every bad thing that happens in the community, I already now feel affects me. I live in the community, I work here, but in the same way, everything that's there to celebrate within this community, I also can feel that joy. And even though I've been here 4 years, which may not seem like a long time to some people who've lived here all their lives, but I already feel that this is sort of my home, and already feel very settled here. And
Would you recommend, if people are wanting to relocate somewhere in London, would you recommend Leytonstone?
Yeah, I think sometimes it might have I don't want to say a bad reputation, but a reputation for certain things. But I've certainly never felt frightened here. I think there's some wonderful people in this community, and lots of potential and lots of good things within this area. And it's home to me, and and I love it very dearly, I guess.
No, I know you do some amazing work here, Joshua, and I know members of the Leytonstone community really appreciate your presence here. And thank you very much indeed for joining Green Borders Online Magazine, Joshua. Happy Easter to you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Bye.